When I became a mother, I thought I knew what kind of parent I would be. I thought I had mapped out every possible conversation, every difficult moment, every lesson I would have to teach my son. But nothing could have prepared me for the evening when my son, Ethan, asked me something that would change both of us forever. It was a quiet Sunday evening. The sun had just begun to set, casting an orange glow across our small suburban backyard. Ethan, who had just turned 14, was sitting on the porch swing with his notebook in his lap. I was at the kitchen table, folding laundry, listening to the faint creak of the swing outside. He'd been unusually quiet all day, and I could tell something was stirring inside him. When I walked outside with a glass of lemonade in my hand, he looked up at me with eyes that seemed older than his years. "Mom," he said softly, "can I ask you something serious?" I smiled, sitting down beside him. "Of course, honey. You can ask me anything." He took a deep breath, his fingers tightening around the edge of his notebook. "Do you ever regret being my mom?" My heart stopped. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. Of all the questions in the world, of all the things I thought he might ask me about friends, school, girls, even mistakes I'd made as a parent, this was the one I never expected. My son, my only child, the boy who had filled my life with both chaos and joy, was asking me if I regretted him. I reached for his hand immediately. "Ethan, why would you ever think that?" His eyes dropped to his lap, and his voice was barely a whisper. "Because sometimes I see how tired you look. You work so much, you barely sleep. You don't have a husband to help you. And I heard someone at school say that kids like me, kids with single moms, ruin their moms' lives." The words hit me like a punch in the chest. I felt tears welling in my eyes. I wanted to find whoever had said that to my son and tell them how wrong they were. But more than that, I needed Ethan to know the truth, my truth. I pulled him into my arms, holding him tightly as if I could squeeze away every doubt he carried. "Ethan James Carter, listen to me. You are not a burden. You are the greatest gift of my life. Do I get tired? Yes. Do I struggle sometimes? Absolutely. But regret you? Never. Not once. Not for a single second." His shoulders trembled against me, and I felt his tears soak into my shirt. I kissed the top of his head and rocked him gently, the way I used to when he was little. "Being your mom is not something I regret. It's something I thank God for every day." He pulled back slightly, his face red and wet. "But what if I fail? What if I'm not enough? What if I don't turn out like you hoped?" I cupped his face in my hands, forcing him to look at me. "Ethan, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be anyone but yourself. My love for you is not based on what you do or don't do. It's who you are. You're my son, and that's enough." That night, after Ethan went to bed, I sat at the kitchen table with his notebook. He'd left it open, maybe on purpose. Inside were sketches of his dreams, drawings of airplanes, notes about being a pilot, little doodles of clouds and wings. He wasn't just a boy wondering if he was enough. He was a boy bursting with dreams but too scared to believe they could come true. Over the next weeks, I made it my mission to show him not only that he was loved, but that his dreams mattered. I scraped together some extra money to buy him a model airplane kit. We started watching documentaries together about aviation. I introduced him to a family friend who worked as a mechanic at a local airport. Slowly, I saw Ethan's confidence grow. But the journey wasn't perfect. There were still nights when he doubted himself, when he asked questions that broke my heart. What if I can't afford college? What if people laugh at me for trying? And each time, I reminded him of the same thing, that he was enough, and that we would figure it out together. One evening, months later, we sat outside again on that same porch swing. The air was cooler now, autumn leaves crunching beneath our feet. Ethan turned to me with a quiet smile. "Mom, remember when I asked you if you regretted me?" I nodded, my heart squeezing. "I remember." He took a deep breath. "I don't think I'll ever ask that again, because now I know the answer. I see it in the way you fight for me, the way you believe in me, even when I don't believe in myself." Tears filled my eyes again, but this time they were happy tears. "Ethan, I will never regret being your mom. Not in this life, Not in any life. You are my heart." He leaned against me, his head resting on my shoulder. Then I guess I'm the luckiest kid in the world. And as the sun set behind us, I realized that I was the lucky one too. Because sometimes the hardest questions bring out the deepest truths. And sometimes the love between a mother and her child is enough to answer every doubt. That was the night I knew my son was going to be okay. And it was also the night I realized that even when we don't have all the answers, love will always be enough.